you rebuild lawnmowers, like that kind of person.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Would probably be able to do it because they like tinkering.
Yeah. If your name's Bob, you can probably replace a bearing. Welcome to the INYOPools podcast, your go-to source for everything pool equipment. Whether you're a seasoned pool professional, a DIY pool owner, or just diving into the world of pool maintenance, we've got you covered. In today's episode, we explore to DIY or not to DIY. Take it away, boys. Hello and welcome to another episode of the INYOPools podcast. I am your host, the best one, Matthew, and to my right I have Pretty Dan. And then to his right, we have Surly Tyler, and then Rob? Yeah, Rob. Rob, good to meet you, Rob.
It's always a letdown when he gets to me.
Yeah.
He's lost steam.
And you.
Well, today is going to be kind of a loosey-goosey episode. This is going to be more of a discussion topic on just DIY in general. The title I was shooting for was to DIY or to not DIY. That is the question. That's probably not going to fit on Spotify, but we're going to do it anyway. So basically what we're going to be talking about is, as a regular pool owner, whether you're a newbie to DIY or, a pro or somebody's, done it for a little bit, what are some genres of DIY that you should feel comfortable in tackling, or when you should probably call in somebody? So I think Rob wanted to start with general pool maintenance. Like when you say pool maintenance, are you talking about like water testing or? Yeah,
testing your own water, adjusting the chemicals, cleaning your filter. A lot of people hire a service company, which is good. That's fine if you don't have the time. But if you do, it might be something you can tackle yourself if you're fairly handy. You don't need much time per week. 15 minutes to 30 minutes.
Yeah.
Typically just regular maintenance.
So is that like just a day or per week? 15, 20 minutes?
Per week.
So what's the general regimen for taking care of your pool? You don't have to get too granular with it, but do you have to skim every day? You have to, or every week, or what are you doing?
You could skim as much as you want to, but yeah, my personal routine is I go out on a Saturday or Sunday, and yeah, I'll skim. I have a robotic vacuum, so I usually just drop that in, let it run for a couple hours. I test the water, which doesn't take but a minute or two.
Mm-hmm.
And then I'll clean the filter if needed. You check the pressure gauge, and if the pressure's high, then you go ahead and clean the filter.
You only test once a week?
I test once a week. Yeah. Yep. You could test every day if you wanted to, just to make sure you got a good chlorine level. And
really have nothing to do. There's people who do it that are retired just every day.
You kind of,
that's all they do is the pool.
Do it like you do your lawn once a week while you're doing after you're done doing your lawn, do your pool, and you can test like the chlorine and pH if your kids are going swimming or you're going swimming or something. That doesn't hurt to make sure it's sanitized or whatnot.
And it depends on your pool. You don't have to do a complete, but if your pool is open, you don't have a lot of vegetation around, then that's fine. But if you have a lot of trees and you're noticing a lot of leaves keep falling, it might be good to go out and at least get the leaves out, because that will mess up your chemistry.
I would say if you have a screened-in pool, why not just do it yourself? Because most of the heavy work is pretty much taken care of by having the screen around it. Like you're not worrying about big leaves. You don't have to worry about, pests or whatever. So, that would, if I ever get like a real nice fancy pool, I'm gonna screen that bad boy in.
That definitely eliminates some problems. Mm-hmm. Some people don't like messing with chemicals, so they prefer just to hire somebody to do
the
that.
chlorine. I would say the salt systems are probably best for DIY people. It costs a little bit more money, but you don't have to worry about having chlorine jugs hanging around. PPE, is that what it's called? Personal protective equipment.
Mm-hmm.
You don't want to flare the old nostrils by breathing in some tablet dust or whatever.
Yeah.
You'll still have to add quite a bit of acid, so you still want to not breathe that in.
Yeah.
Oh yeah,
acid. You get that muriatic acid blast. Like, oh yeah, that clears your sinuses.
Well, you talked me out of taking care of my pool, guys. Congratulations.
If you got the time and you're handy and
Yeah.
you want to save a few dollars,
Yeah, because
it's not that complicated.
there's still other things that you have to do, like cleaning the filter with your maintenance or cleaning out the basket. So you have to have some type of handiness to you.
Yeah.
Yep. And if I think in some pool stores actually offer pool schools to new, so you can actually go to your local pool store and say, do you guys offer where they'll come out to your house and actually go over what you need to do. So if you want to do it yourself, that way you're not out there just like, okay, I saw YouTube. They'll let you hands on show you what to do this, what to look for and help you.
That's cool. Do they make you pay for that?
Yeah. Yeah, of course. Yeah.
I've done
Why is
plenty
that
of
free?
pool schools
Yeah.
in my
Yeah. So I'm
life.
saying I went out and did plenty of pool schools and
I've done that, or told them to bring in pictures, and hey, if you bring me in good pictures, multiple pictures, I can show you how to do things through those pictures.
That's a pump. That's a filter.
Yeah.
That'll be $75, please.
pretty much.
So
No, it gets really complicated when they have automation and valves and stuff, and then you're like, oh man,
Yep.
I have to show all this.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
Oh, that's an OmniLogic. Well, sorry, sir, you're screwed. No, I'm joking. Hayward, if you're listening.
Or they have like everything, the automation, the heater. Or
They got blowers and things like
want you to
that.
show them how to be able to switch from their spa to the pool, back to spa, turn to heat. And it's like, okay,
You know what? How about we leave some mystery? I gotta go. So, okay, now we got the pool maintenance down. Let's go to more nitty gritty when it comes to the pool equipment. Let's start with the good old pump.
Yeah.
Like, what's the general maintenance? Well, let's start with just installation. If you're going to be installing a new pump or replacing an old one, I would presume you would have to have like an intermediary, novice type thing when it comes to DIY, because you have to be comfortable with wiring. Well, if you're replacing an old pump, you either have to cut it out, or be able to screw it out and then know where breakers are, unwire something, and then remove it and then pull in the new thing. So I would say if we're doing like a 1 to 10, 1 is me in terms of DIY, and 10 is Rob. I was like, I'm in eye contact with Tyler.
Thought you were going to choose me, man.
I saw
I'm
the
a 20, I know.
I saw that.
Yes.
He's like, oh, it's gonna happen. Oh, rip it away.
I think at the end of the day, if you have some type of mechanically inclinedness to you, you can do like a direct drop in.
Like if it's a super pump for a super pump,
Yeah.
like the only thing you got to do is unscrew some unions and then you pop and also you need to unwire. Is it unwire or is it It's not. It's definitely not dewire. But
Both of them sound messed up, man. So take off the wires.
yeah, take off the wires and then be able to wire a new one. I would say probably like a 4 if you're a 3 or a 4 if you're replacing like an existing pump with the same model. But if you're changing out a Super 2 and then you're putting in a Challenger, or I was going to say put in a
Maxi Pro or something.
Yeah, something like that. You're probably going to jump it up to a 5 or a 6 because you will have to cut things out. And it also depends on what if you're got a filter, what kind of filter you have, like especially if it's a cartridge filter where you have like that weird U thing where you have to go up or down to get to the inlet port. So, I mean, that's more.
How good is your Tetris game? Sometimes, that's what I think of whenever I'm having to put in new valves and stuff like that. Is Tetris, because you're trying to fit everything in and restructure it. Because let's face it, if you're not removing valves and and the pump you're installing is taller than the pump you currently have, you're probably 45 in off to the side so that you can kind of get your rise from that valve to that pump, because you don't want to put like I've seen some really bad hack jobs where it's like 90-90 and you're like, ooh, why is there so many 90? There's so much resistance in front of this pump right now.
Exactly.
But you do like 45 and you kind of bend it up and now you have to adjust over here where your return side is, and you have to measure and fit all that in as well. The good thing with everything above ground is you got flex in the pipe.
Yeah.
So a lot of the jobs, unless you are really about tap conning stuff into the ground, I've ran into those where I'm trying to move
What's
the
tap con?
like the screws tapping the base down to where it's like
right into the pad.
yeah.
Pad where you can-
So is that like hurricane?
it's like securing the equipment to the pad.
I've never personally was really a big fan of it. Once it has water in it, it's pretty heavy. So,
Yeah.
but I've definitely seen it and been like, oh, why can't I move this filter? You
Most
know,
times I've always seen is usually the autochlorinators. If they have the autochlorinators that aren't, they're the outline ones, they usually tap those into the.
yeah, no, like
Those-
the offline
yeah,
ones,
that's
I
a
would
good
definitely
idea, just
tap
because
in.
you- But yeah, even then, plumbing is always a different animal because, like you said, you see some hack jobs where they have a little bit of space, but there's a lot of couplers where they just like cut and keep adding on, and where it's like, it's just better just to cut it all and then just start over and put a whole
Restart.
new.
We should have
plumb
a
job.
do's and don'ts when it comes to plumbing. Cool.
Yeah, if you don't have any experience plumbing and you got to redo everything,
Yeah.
maybe you call somebody in
Yeah.
or do a lot of homework before you do it.
Yeah.
So it's not just something you want to just blindly go into and just think, like Tyler said, just using a bunch of 90s will hook everything up because you're just adding resistance to it. So do some homework. It's not something you'd want to jump into if you've never done it before and have no knowledge.
Besides just like installing the whole new pump, you have your general DIY repair. So replacing a motor, I would say replacing a motor is probably like a 4 or 5 on a 1 to 10 scale, just because again, it comes to the wiring thing. But not everybody is comfortable with wires. If you have like somebody with you that's more comfortable with stuff, maybe you can be a 2 or a 3 with some guidance. We also have of course, we always have guides on how to replace a motor, replace your filter, gaskets and such. But when it comes to replacing a motor on a pool pump, I would say that's probably the biggest DIY thing you're going to do besides installing the whole new pump.
Yeah.
When you change anything out in the insides, whether it's the motor, impeller, diffuser, any of that stuff.
Yeah.
Anytime internal. Plus, it's always a good idea to take a picture if you're not 100% sure. When you take the back off, you see the wiring.
Yeah.
Take a picture how the old ones were just for.
Yep.
I think people definitely get intimidated when they see. I mean, at first, 220, I always knew 220. It didn't, like, as long as you're plugging them to the terminals that they're supposed to be plugged on, you can go either or. But 110, I always had a hard time. Okay, you got neutral / line 2 and then line 1, So whenever I first started doing it, that was a little bit more intimidating for me. But as long as, like Dan said, take a picture. I used to do that with timers and stuff.
I mean, capacitors, and it's a good thing to do with a capacitor when
Take
you're
a piece
replacing
of tape, wrap it around there, wrap it around the plug that goes like just know in your head. Picture is probably the best way to do it.
Yeah. And it's just, I would also say it's about taking your time. You just don't want to start again, like you were saying earlier, take a picture, make sure you are seeing everything when you first open it. Make sure you take a picture and make sure you know where everything should be. So when you get to a point and you get everything back together and God forbid, nothing's turning on, you're like, okay, let me go back to my picture instead of start guessing.
Yeah, because most of the switchboards on the back, even though they might look different, but universally they're almost all the same. They're picked up. They just got different shapes, and that throws people off because, like, well, this doesn't look like mine. But if you look at the thing, it's all the same.
Follow the wire diagram. Most motors have it on it.
Or when people call in and they're like, well, what about this orange and blue wire? It's like, I don't think there's an orange and blue wire back there. I don't know what you're talking about.
Yeah, I think I would always tell customers if you've installed a ceiling fan, you can replace a pool pump.
Yeah. No, I agree.
Yeah, it literally is. That's all it is.
You've got that technical expertise. You can put in a pool pump motor yourself.
Yeah, and you don't have to worry about falling off a ladder.
Right.
I mean, unless you really messed up installing your pool pump somehow. So, yeah, we're replacing a motor pretty, mildly novice. I don't know where novice, I think novice is just below intermediate. But, and then replacing the gaskets, most of the gaskets are pretty easy, except for the shaft seal, which is, again, it's one of those things where you just have to, as long as you have a guide, like one of our how-to guides or one of our videos, you know where to put the wrench to get the impeller off, how to wrench off the impeller, how to remove it, not to touch this or that, and put it all back together, and you should be good. So, that's the good thing about most.
I'd say the gaskets are a little bit easier than the motor because you don't have to actually take the wire off the motor.
Yeah, exactly.
It just surprised me how people have a hard time putting like shaft seals, and it's like if you just saw how you took the other one off and how it was on there, it's just putting the new one exactly the same way. Or again, I always tell people, take pictures. Always take pictures if you take all your stuff before you mess with it.
The only thing I notice with like shaft seals and motors and stuff is people don't notice what like per se I would notice, like a melted plate or a bad impeller, or there's certain things that I could see and I could say, hey, this is going to leak if we don't replace that. So I think that's where I'd say 90% of warranties for motors come from. It's not that we're giving you a bad motor. It's you're not noticing your plate is melted in the back because it ran dry for 3 hours and it created friction back there and heat.
The shafts all the way down.
That, or the bolts, the grommets for the bolts of some of these plates start pulling out and it's not fully pulling it back. There's little nuances whenever I'm installing something that I notice where the average person that doesn't do it every day doesn't notice,
And I think we were talking about this before we started recording, but bearings.
Yes.
We're saying like, hey, we get questions about, it's like, my motor is making this loud noise. I think it's the bearings. You think I could probably replace the bearings? Like,
no.
If you have to ask, you probably can. and I say that having seen people do it, read our guide on something I used to do when I was with customer service or in customer service more year round. It might be one of the reasons I'm not in there. Is that if someone asked about the bearings, I would send them the guide on how to replace a pool motor bearing, just because that's a good barometer. It's like, hey, if you open that thing up and then you scroll 3 times, they're like, nope. We're like, all right. But if you open it and you're thinking, yeah, I could still do it. It's like, that's either, you're either competent or that's hubris. Mm-hmm. And let's see what happens. Let's roll the dice. But a lot of times someone would see that 80-part guide, part 1, I think, that, it's a little too much. And honestly, like that process takes so much precision that it's probably best left to a pro unless you have like actual, you're at like a 6, 7, 8 in terms of skill when it comes to DIY. Plus you have to have a bearing grip, bearing puller. Like there's tons of stuff that you have to have, and you have to have like a vise and all these other things. So, and all the different parts of the motor, you have to know what a stator is. Yep. And, God forbid I have to point one out because it might be a very long, quiet wait until I figure it out.
And those bearing pullers they're such a specialized bearing puller, and they're not cheap either. And that's what you got to think too. Is why everyone wants to spend the money on something that I might use one. Whereas like our store, if you go to a store, we have one because we were at one time doing that a lot. But
yeah, I don't know if the average homeowner that's just not too mechanically inclined, they would want to tackle that. I think if you're like real handy and you work on your own car, you rebuild lawnmowers, like that kind of person.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Would probably be able to do it because they like tinkering.
Yeah, if your name's Bob, you can probably replace a bearing.
If you're mechanically inclined, I would say you can most likely tackle that.
Bob or Bill, you can definitely replace a bearing. You have that equipment, or you got a neighbor on there that's.
I got a bearing puller in my garage. I'll let you use it, Steve.
Oh yeah, but one in the 70s. Stanley, those things don't go away. You don't get rid of a bearing puller once you find a good one. It's like a barber.
If you've got a refrigerator and a bench in your garage, you could probably. That's probably.
They're like the oils, like the old oil cans back in the 70s. Where you punctured the can with a nozzle. Yeah, those things will never go away. I still have it.
Oh, or you have one of those. Oh, you have a wall with license plates you've had. It's like, oh, this guy knows. This guy knows.
Yeah. If you're the neighbor with your garage door always open, you're always in the garage.
And you got 2 lawn chairs.
Yeah.
It's like, oh,
You can do
this guy DIYs. This guy knows what he's talking about. Every neighborhood should have a neighborhood watch and one of those guys, just so you can call. It's like, hey, Stan, I got to do something. I don't know what my lawnmower or weed whacker is doing. Can you come over and take a look at it?
Be right,
Or you hang
right off the wall
at your door
Yeah,
with a beer and
he's like, hey, I'm here and I brought 6 helpers and it's a 6-pack of beer.
And you can see on the wall where they got the outline of where they put their tools.
Yeah.
Be right there. We get it off the wall.
It's like, oh, you had a back brace on. Oh yeah, he's done some stuff. Well, I think we covered pumps. We went longer for pumps. I think we'll make this more of a series because we only got down to pumps, and I think we got to plumbing. But pumps are very. I mean, it's the heart of your pool, so you need to make sure that it's running, and there's a lot of things that can go wrong with it. But luckily, there's a lot of things that there's stuff that can go wrong with it, but there's plenty of stuff that you can troubleshoot to see what's wrong with it and how to get it back up. I mean, we didn't even get into like testing a capacitor or
I tell people when they're like, they call in and they're always like wanting to replace because they'll have like a North Star or a pump that they don't make anymore. So just when you recommend it, I always just say, hey, whatever one you do pick, make sure you have an idea it's going to be around.
Yeah.
Because if you go into a store and they're like, hey, I got this one on sale, and then you find out it's on sale because they've been discontinued and they're just trying to get rid of their stock, and then you buy it and you realize, there's no parts for it in like 2 or 3, 4 years from now.
That's why I would tell somebody, hey, I want to get this pump, especially if it's from like a big box store. Generally, those are, I would say, more budget pumps, but they're not, the parts aren't carried in a lot of places. Like, or it's a very,
we used to call it throwaway pump.
I was about to say the same thing. That would be a throwaway pump.
I mean, it'd be a pump that will get you past inspection when you're selling your house, and then you can like, well, it's not my problem.
Yeah, if you're paying like $250 for a whole pump, then you're like, well, my motor went out. Well, you might as well just throw it and go buy that exact same one brand.
Because the motor is going to probably cost more than the pump actually costs at that point.
Yeah, and you can use the old pump, take off the gaskets, maybe save them. I don't know what you can do, but
you can save parts off. You can save like the lids and
the bobs and
stuff from
and Bills definitely are saving the parts.
Oh yeah. Hey, neighbor, what are you gonna do with that motor? I can do something with that copper.
Cousin Eddie, that stuff. Hey, what you doing with that?
He was like, oh yeah, I saw this chair. You had it on the thing.
Listen, what has set you back? You mind if I take it?
Yeah. I think I can find a home for it. As you can tell, we love Bob's Bills and Stands. But stay with us. I guess this will be a series. We'll cover filters and heaters and salt chlorine generators on to DIY or not to DIY. That truly is the question. But today was pumps and general pool maintenance. I guess we'll see you some other time. If you have any questions about anything pool and or spa or Stands, Bills, or Bobs, please make sure you visit us over at INYOPools.com. I've been Matt. That has been Dan. I think that's been Tyler. And of course, that's been Rob. Thank you for joining us. Bye. Thanks for listening to another INYOPools podcast. If you found this episode helpful, be sure to subscribe and leave us a review. For more pool tips and resources, visit INYOPools.com, and don't forget to follow us on Instagram and Facebook. Links for both are in the episode description. We'll see you next time.